The convention will please come to order. As a reminder, I would like to ask everyone to please silence your cell phones and portable devices. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Hand salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. I'll ask Chaplain Deborah Varner Dancer to lead us in prayer as we prepare to undertake this morning's business.
Good morning. Let us pray. Almighty Creator, once again we come to this place with thanksgiving, this space of business being achieved and accomplished with your wisdom, your guidance, and your instruction. Help us as one to celebrate those who shall be awarded today for all of their great achievements, meeting their goals, and being great overcomers. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for those who come far and near just to celebrate this great occasion. We ask all of this in your name, and the people say it. Amen.
In order for a delegate to be heard at this convention, you must first be recognized by the chair. Only those delegates at a microphone will be recognized. They must state their name, chapter number, and the state they represent. Comrades, the Constitution rules are a continuing part of our bylaws. They are part and parcel of Article 3 and remain in effect continually. They are subject to amendment as provided in the bylaws and do not require readoption. I would like to call on Chairman Brenda Reed for the Credentials Committee report.
Good morning. I actually know what state I'm in this year. The Credentials Committee met in room 105 of the Convention Center in Phoenix, Arizona on August 3rd, 2024 at 1:13 p.m. On the roll call, excuse me. The National Convention Credentials Committee was called to order by Committee Advisor Michael Dobmeyer and Doug Wells. The first order of business was to elect a chairperson and a secretary. I, Brenda Reed, Department of Florida, District 7, was elected to serve as chairperson. Callie Mullins, Department of Washington, District 19, was elected to serve as secretary. The roll call showed 993 delegates and 49 alternates have registered, which include 42 departments and 343 chapters registered. There are 9 national officers, 21 national executive committeemen, and 15 past national commanders currently registered for a total of 45 votes. The total vote count is 7,531. This partial report is for informational purposes only, and it reflects the registration at the close of business at 6 p.m. on August 3rd, 2024. This completes the partial report of the Credentials Committee, Commander.
At this time, I would also like to introduce and recognize National Chief of Staff Floyd Watson, Officer of the Day Jim Patton, and Sergeant at Arms Thomas Ayala. Thank you for your support as it has made my job easier. It's now my honor and pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of DAV's Washington headquarters, Randy Reese. A native of Bristol, Virginia, Randy enlisted in the Army in 1984 and served as a rifle squad leader in the 82nd Airborne Division during the Persian Gulf War. Returning stateside, Randy served as an elite black hat instructor in the Air Movement Operations and Jump Master courses at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. It was there he suffered a disabling back injury while conducting a nighttime parachute jump. He separated from the Army in 1995. Randy went on to earn his paralegal degree from Kaplan College for professional studies and is a nationally recognized expert on veterans benefits and services since he joined DAV as a National Service Officer the year of his discharge. In December 2018, Randy was appointed Executive Director of DAV's National Service and Legislative Headquarters in Washington, D.C., where he serves as DAV's principal spokesperson before Congress, the White House, and the Department of Veterans Affairs. In this role, he continues to lead our advocacy efforts in Washington as others have before him, keeping us in the forefront of the fight on Capitol Hill for veterans' rights. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm welcome for our Executive Director of DAV's National Service and Legislative Headquarters, Randy Reese.
National Commander Espinosa, National Adjutant Jesenowski, distinguished guests, and delegates. It's my distinct pleasure to be with you here today to report on the activities of DAV's National Service and Legislative programs over this past year. Since we last convened in Atlantic City, DAV has had another year of accomplishments. In true DAV fashion, we never wavered from advocating for and securing vital benefits and health care for veterans, their families, and survivors, regardless of the political climate that we find ourselves in. Speaking of climate, it's great to be here in Phoenix, a city that enjoys 4 seasons: tolerable, hot, really hot, and are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure we're in the are you kidding me? If I've learned one thing about Phoenix so far, it's the value of air conditioning, or refrigeration as the locals call it. You know it's hot in Phoenix when the cold water faucet is hotter than the hot, when jalapeno peppers are used for cooling, and when your bread gets toasted on the drive home. Hot. But as hot as it is here today, how many of you remember what happened on another hot August 2nd day, 34 years ago? That's right. It was the day Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait to start the Persian Gulf War, a day that forever changed my life and so many of yours. In just days after the invasion, I was at Fort Bragg, and within a week, I was on my way to Saudi Arabia as a part of the 82nd Airborne Division's 2nd Brigade. So as much as I appreciate when people say it's a dry heat in Phoenix, nothing will ever compare to the heat experienced in the Persian Gulf sandbox that summer. That war was a major milestone on my journey from serving in the Army to serving my fellow disabled veterans in DAV. Commander, I'm proud to be a part of the preeminent veteran service organization, and I'm pleased to share some highlights of what we accomplished over the past year, starting with our National Service Program. Each year, DAV helps hundreds of thousands of veterans who seek benefits they've earned, with more than 3,600 service officers, including national, transition, department, and chapter service officers, DAV counseled over 300,000 veterans just last year, filing over 200,000 new benefit claims. In total, our service officers took nearly 3 million actions to assist veterans, their families, and survivors just over this past year. And because of that work they do and the trust that they've gained, DAV now holds power of attorney for approximately 1.1 million veterans. And with our help, they received $28.4 billion in benefits just last year. And for those who've had their claims denied, DAV is there to help them every step of the way, from filing appeals to securing representation, all the way up to the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. No matter what or when you served, benefit advocates stand ready to help veterans and their families navigate these complex waters. And we do so at no charge to the veteran, ever. We go out into the communities around the country to educate veterans and their families about how DAV can help them get their VA benefits and make them aware of other life-changing and sometimes life-saving services that we offer. Last year, we held over 400 information seminars that drew in more than 17,000 attendees. And like all of these services we offer, these were free of charge. And we continue to invest in our training and education for our National Service Officers who work on the front lines. We're making a $500,000 investment in new technology, laptops, so that every DAV National Service Officer is able to conduct mobile outreach and submit electronic claims from virtually anywhere they are. When it comes to serving America's veterans, wherever they are, DAV is and will remain second to none. At DAV, helping comes naturally. It isn't a question of why should we do it? It's how can we do it? When natural disasters strike, that's exactly how we operate. No matter what Mother Nature throws our way, DAV stands ready to be a light in perhaps one of the darkest moments in a veteran's life. Just last year, DAV provided nearly $900,000 to veterans in Texas, California, North Carolina, Iowa, South Dakota, and other regions of the country impacted by fires, floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes. These efforts will never waver. And I'm proud to say that since 1968, DAV has dispersed over $20 million in disaster relief funds. We continue living up to the eternal words of Abraham Lincoln, to care for all who shall have borne the battle. That's truly what we're doing with the DAV Caregiver Support. We launched this initiative last year, offering tailored support and resources to friends, family, loved ones who selfishly serve as veteran caregivers. In just the first few months, we've already helped hundreds of veterans, helped hundreds of caregivers by connecting them to the resources that can make their lives easier, reduce their stress, empower them to keep veterans in their homes longer. DAV is committed to finding innovative ways to support these women and men who are truly America's unsung heroes. As you've heard me say a couple times, every DAV service is offered free of charge. And I can tell you that will never change. But the recent explosion of new VA benefits available to veterans, thanks in part to the PACT Act, has created unfortunate opportunity for so-called claim sharks. These people and organizations are circling veterans, looking to charge hefty fees for helping file VA benefit claims. They don't view veterans as worthy individuals who earn these benefits through their service and sacrifice. They view us as cash cows. No veteran should risk receiving wrong or even fraudulent information when seeking the benefits they're entitled to. It's not just wrong morally, it's illegal. If you ask me, that's some bull shark. I could say another word. That's why DAV supports the GUARD VA Benefits Act, which would impose criminal penalties for claim sharks. Together, let's make claim sharks an endangered species. This August also marks another anniversary of note for DAV. It was 30 years ago that the movie Forrest Gump was released, featuring Tom Hanks and our friend Gary Sinise. For those who haven't seen it, there's really no excuse. Perhaps the most famous line from that movie is, "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." But the line I think most often when I'm working in D.C. is from when Forrest Gump quotes his mother as saying that, and you know it, stupid is as stupid does. Which brings me to Congress. Despite attempts to cool down the partisan rhetoric and end the gridlock in Congress after the horrifying shooting in Pennsylvania last month, legislation to strengthen veterans' health care and benefit continues to face historic obstacles due to political polarization and dysfunction. In fact, political scientists almost universally consider the current 118th Congress to be one of the least productive in our nation's history. Since last January, Congress has approved 67 bills that were signed into law out of 14,000 that were introduced. That's the total lowest number since at least World War II, if not the lowest ever. Even if they can double that number by the end of the year, the final total will still be less than 25% of just the average number of laws approved by Congress over the past 80 years. But no matter what the odds or obstacles, the DAV team is relentless in our pursuit of our goals. Since the start of the 118th Congress, the DAV legislative team has held more than 550 meetings with VA leaders, members of Congress, their staffs on important legislation and policies being considered. Our legislative team has participated in over 50 congressional hearings and roundtables to promote DAV's critical policy goals. And perhaps the most important, through our Commanders Action Network, the DAV CAN, you and your fellow members have sent out more than 1.1 million emails to Capitol Hill offices. So we can all be proud that Team DAV has been doing our job. And I know that I can count on you in the weeks and months ahead to help us push some important legislative priorities over the finish line. For more than a year now, DAV and a broad coalition of veterans organizations have been working to enact the Senator Elizabeth Dole's 21st Century Veterans Healthcare and Benefits Improvement Act. This bill was a culmination of more than a year's work and includes important new policies from dozens of bills introduced in Congress last year. Everything from expanding VA access to long-term care options, to supporting family caregivers, extending dental care coverage for more veterans, helping end veteran homelessness, to improving veterans' education benefits for their survivors, and so much more. Many of you have already talked to your representatives and called your senators, or emailed your members of Congress about this critical legislation. And we'll be asking you to do it again in the coming weeks. We must not, and with your help, we will not allow Congress to finish this year without passing the Dole Act. You may have also heard recent news that VA announced it has a serious budget shortfall this year and next. And unless Congress provides more dollars, they might be forced to delay the delivery of benefit checks for disability compensation, dependency indemnity compensation, and other benefit checks this fall. Rest assured, that we have been and will continue to work with Secretary McDonough and leaders in Congress to ensure this doesn't happen. We're also working with the House and Senate to increase funding for VA healthcare next year. Due to the success of the PACT Act, which was signed into law almost exactly 2 years ago, hundreds of thousands of veterans are eligible for new benefits in healthcare due to the toxic exposures. And that's good news. The bad news is that VA and Congress didn't put enough funding into the budget to pay for it. So once again, we'll need your voices to make certain that the administration and Congress fully funds the VA healthcare system. Every eligible veteran deserves access to high-quality care whenever and wherever they need it. With women being the fastest growing group of veterans, we must continue to ensure that VA remains accessible and safe with tailored resources to meet their needs. Earlier this year, DAV published the latest Women Veterans Report entitled Women Veterans, The Journey to Mental Wellness. We presented our findings from the report at a Capitol Hill briefing in February, where some of these brave women veterans came forward with their stories of injury, betrayal, courage, and hope.
When I came home from the first Iraq War, does a show, does a store, my father picked me up and he said I had a blank stare in my eye and I wasn't the same.
My husband woke me up one night because I was beating him, because I thought he was an attacker.
I had to have a full hysterectomy, and then it took me months to recover after that.
I had several gang rapes while I was in the military.
I went on not knowing that I was broken for years.
What does VA and Congress need to do to better address women's mental health needs?
Ask women.
The VA healthcare system is the largest healthcare system in the world. And we have some things that we got to work out, of course. Is it perfect? No, but no healthcare system is. Are we getting better? Absolutely. Absolutely, because there's people like me. There's a me for me now.
This landmark report, DAV's third, is the first to address and focus on the staggering rate of suicide among women veterans. Between 2020 and 2021, the suicide rate rose 24%. All suicide is tragic, but as the report finds, women are twice as likely to attempt suicide than male veteran counterparts. And more than half suicide deaths amongst women veterans involve firearms. If these figures jump off the page, they should. No one should be comfortable seeing these alarming statistics. You can read about DAV's 50 policy recommendations to reduce this wicked scourge at womenveterans.org. As we did with our prior Women Veterans Report, DAV is actively working with VA and Congress to get these recommendations adopted, and I'm confident with your help, we can and will continue to make the difference in saving lives. Disability rights activist Helen Keller once said that the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Well, next week, DAV will be publicly releasing our vision for veterans for the 119th Congress. It's a compilation of bold policy proposals that would significantly improve the delivery of health care and benefits for veterans, their families, caregivers, and survivors. If you attended the Benefit Protection Team Leader Workshop on Friday, you already had a preview. We're going to need everyone here today and all of your fellow DAV members and supporters back home to share our vision with the members of Congress, candidates, and those who are running to replace them in November's election, and those who are secure in their seats. Our goal is to get them to sign pledges of support for each of our 7 Vision for Veterans proposals. And next year, we and you will hold their feet to the fire to support legislation to implement our Vision for Veterans. And here's what we're proposing. First, do not reduce, offset, tax veterans' disability compensation ever. Next, comprehensively reform and strengthen and increase dependents' indemnity compensation for survivors of disabled veterans. Next, we believe that dental care is health care and is long overdue for VA to provide it to all service-disabled veterans. It's also time for VA to offer assisted living as a new long-term care option for service-disabled veterans who can no longer live independently at home. With budget challenges every day, we're asking Congress to establish a permanent reserve fund to guarantee we have VA hospitals and clinics when veterans need them and where veterans need them. My personal pet peeve, Congress must end pay-go, a ridiculous rule that requires new veterans' benefits to be paid for by cuts to existing benefits. No more balancing the budget off the backs of disabled veterans. And finally, we're calling for a comprehensive reform of the toxic exposure laws and policies so that no veteran has to wait decades to get their benefits ever again. In that regard, I'm pleased to announce that in September, DAV, working together with our colleagues at the Military Officers Association of America, MOA, will be releasing a landmark report called Ending the Wait for Toxic Exposed Veterans. This carefully researched report includes comprehensive findings and recommendations. If enacted, could significantly shorten the time it takes veterans exposed to toxic substances to get the care and benefits they've earned. While the PACT Act took care of most veterans harmed by burn pits, it did not cover all known military toxic exposures today. And it didn't establish a new process to shorten the time veterans have to wait in the future. We found that on average, it took more than 36 years for VA to formally recognize and compensate veterans injured by toxic substances such as Agent Orange and burn pits. Never again should we allow America's heroes to suffer in silence for decades due to harms incurred in service to our nation. There's a famous quote from George Santana, or Santana, however you say the name. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. But today, I'm reminded of an expression that's often credited to author and humorist Mark Twain. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Picture this. 50 years ago, 1974, and the following years was a period of turmoil, very much like we're experiencing today. Back then, a long, protracted war finally ended. There were major political scandals. One president resigned, and the next one survived not one, but 2 assassination attempts. Inflation in the nation was over 11%. It was a tense, too often a violent time, one that took leadership, patience, wisdom to navigate through. But we can't always count on our political leaders to get us through. As in the past, I believe it's going to take the steady hand of veterans to show the way forward. By remaining steadfast in our purpose, united in our plans, and tireless in our efforts, I am confident that DAV will continue to do our part in setting an example for all. And working together, we will continue to achieve more victories for veterans and the nation in the years ahead. May God bless the DAV in these efforts and the men and women who defended the United States of America. Thank you, everybody. Commander, that completes my report. I ask for your adoption by the committee, or by the convention.
Thank you, Randy. Very good. Thank you, Randy. May I have a motion to accept Mr. Reese's report? Mike 3?
Al LaBelle, Chapter 57, Department of Wisconsin, makes a motion to accept the excellent report presented by Washington Executive Director Randy Reese.
I have a motion. May I have a second?
Mike 4.
Mike 4?
Tim Walsh, Chapter 1, Department of South Dakota, seconds the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce or reintroduce to many of you a fantastic veteran who is going very far in this organization. Cody Van Boxel is a Marine veteran of the Iraq War. He was appointed Executive Director of DAV's National Headquarters in Erlanger, Kentucky in June 2023. His office is located in a facility he played a key role in seeing come from fruition, from design to completion. Cody oversees employment initiatives, voluntary services, fundraising, accounting, membership activities, administration, information technology, communications, outreach, human resources, facilities, and logistics critical to DAV's mission of support for disabled veterans and their families. Cody was appointed to assist Executive Director in 2021. In that capacity, he was instrumental in the acquisition of DAV Patriot Boot Camp, among other important initiatives. In 2017, Cody was appointed to the position of National Human Resources Director, where his responsibilities included advising the Executive Director and providing executive oversight for the company's human resource initiatives. He began his career as a National Service Officer apprentice at the National Service Office in Washington, D.C. In 2011, before transferring to Philadelphia, an office he ultimately supervised. A native of Hebden, Ohio, Cody served his country as an electronics technician and then a Marine security guard, serving in West Africa, Eastern Europe, and Asia. He spent nearly all of 2007 on duty in Iraq, providing specialized security to Department of State and multinational forces. After his discharge in January 2009, he attended Western Governors University, earning a bachelor's degree of science in business management. He is also a Society of Human Resources Management Senior Certified Professional. Ladies and gentlemen, please give me a warm welcome to your DAV National Headquarters Executive Director, Cody Van Boxel.
All right. OH! There it is. All right, thank you, Commander, for your introduction and leadership over a very eventful term at DAV's helm. And thank all of you for coming. As an organization of people who share common experiences, tell me if this story resonates with you. A new general arrives on base to take over as commander. As she tours her new home, she sees two young Marines guarding an obscure bench under a shade tree. When asked what they're doing, they tell her their vigil is part of a long-standing base tradition, but they aren't sure what's behind the tradition. She asks the outgoing commander about it, and he tells her he has no idea when or why the bench became a duty assignment. But he wasn't going to be the one to mess with tradition. So she calls the commander before that, and the commander before that, and the commander before that. No one knew. Finally, she reached out to a sergeant major who had been stationed at the base 20 years prior. She asked him, "Sergeant Major, we've had two Marines on permanent detail guarding an obscure bench near the parade deck for as long as anyone can remember. Do you know why?" Sergeant Major was shocked. "Ma'am," he said, "are you telling me that paint is still wet?" DAV is not an organization that does things simply because that's the way they've always been done. Thank you. The mindset is imprinted on everyone on Team DAV from our national adjutant down, and it's part of our daily approach. And that's important because the terrain that we operate in as a charity is continuously changing. The need to advance and evolve is constant. Not only that, the needs of the veterans we serve and the ways we engage the public to support our cause are ever-changing. It's been said that even within a single family, every child grows up in a different home. Similarly, everyone who joins the military, even those in the same fighting hole, has a unique experience. I spent almost all of 2007 in Iraq as a Marine security guard. Our task was to protect our nation's personnel and secrets. From one of Saddam's former palaces, we faced regular attacks. We reacted to the threat of suicide bombers and took incoming fire. Lives were lost while I was there. And through the intelligence we protected, we were intimately familiar with the evil that was being committed beyond our zone of control. Some of that evil was all too familiar to a revered DAV leader who was serving at around that same time in Iraq. Our own past national commander, Stephen Butch Whitehead, was operating out of Convoy Support Center Scania when he helped capture a high-value target named Ali Turki Yusum. Caught with a rare find, a mortar sight, he was a bad guy who could have been much more effective than the average jihadist at attacking American interests and personnel. And that would have been of considerable concern to DAV's Dan Clare, who is today our Chief Communications and Outreach Officer. He was, at around the same time, choking on burn pits at Balad, also known as Mortar Reedaville. Though each served along a 200-click stretch of Route Tampa, our experiences in that theater are very different. And they're even harder to compare to the experience of DAV's Assistant Legislative Director, Naomi Mathis, who lost an airman she felt was like a brother to her. Staff Sergeant Patrick L. Griffin, Jr. died in an attack along the same route a few years before. Naomi was a single mother when she enlisted in the Air Force and endured 3 deployments apart from her children. After that, she transitioned out of a service to a VA less than prepared to meet her needs as a woman veteran. Comparisons in conflicts or eras are rarely productive. Just ask anyone who served in the infantry in Vietnam. Though most of their combat tours lasted 1 year, compared to those who fought in the Pacific for the duration of the war, the mobility of helicopters made it possible for them to experience 6 times as many days in actual combat in the course of a year. So before you make a comparison, ask Don Inns about Beirut, or Rob Reynolds about the joys that come with jumping out of perfectly good airplanes, or Dick Marbs about how it is to live 65 years without a leg because of an illness in service, or Delphine Metcalf Foster, who slept her first 2 weeks in Saudi Arabia in a body bag for warmth before she and her fellow soldiers had to begin filling them, or anyone who drank water at Camp Lejeune, or who was a survivor of MST, or who were injured so severely in training that their military careers were cut short. DAV must honor them all, not with a broad brush, but in recognition of the sacrifices each made individually in uniform. If we hearken to a specific era, we should do so without prejudice or preconceived notions. We cannot and should not ignore the adversity that comes with service, regardless of how anyone is changed in uniform. But we also must make every effort to understand the experiences of the veterans who serve of all eras, including those called to intrepid duty in extremely perilous situations. This year, we mark 2 decades since the Second Battle of Fallujah. There, our own faced the heaviest urban combat we'd seen since Way City, which is its own battle with its own unique lore. Few among the living, myself included, can grasp the chaos and insanity that so many faced over those 6 weeks in the winter of 2004. But the courage they showed and the violence they endured demand our remembrance. Just ask DAV member Aubrey McDade. On his second deployment, when pinned down and with 2 of his Marines wounded in a firefight, Aubrey heroically and selflessly charged to the front of his squad to take on an enemy who was determined to die. Because of his actions, 2 Marines who would otherwise have died were saved, and the remains of Corporal Nathan Anderson, who gave his life, were recovered.
I just remember seeing all these explosions, man. Purple and green sparks and pink and red flames all in the midst of the city. I still don't really process that this is real, like this is really happening. These machine guns that's going off, it's not simulation. Like it's real gunfire. These explosions that are happening, these buildings are really crumbling. I think Fallujah tells a story bigger than Fallujah. I think the story of us in that fight and what it takes to endure that kind of trauma and that kind of hardship, if you will, is the same thing it takes for this country to be as great as we claim to be. I don't care how good you are at acquiring your sights and squeezing the trigger on the enemy. You can't go and do the things that Bravo Company 1-8 did without being a band of brothers, without loving each other, without looking past each other's difference. I wouldn't wish Fallujah on anybody, especially when you think about the outcome versus the risk. But I also don't think there's anybody else that can do what we did. That's not even a beat on the chest. That's just standing tall in your assignment.
Aubrey received the Navy Cross for putting himself in harm's way to save his brothers. You can learn more about the anniversary of Fallujah through the exhibit hall in Hall 2 on the lower level and in an upcoming special multimedia feature on the battle and those forever changed there. And Aubrey will be joining a guided discussion about the battle this evening at 6:30 in the West 207 Lecture Hall. He embodies the concept that we, as individuals and as an organization, must never leave our own behind. To do that, to live up to our charge as the organization that ensures promises are kept to veterans, we must take a global view on how we execute our mission and meet veterans where they are. We must do the same with our volunteers and donors. This year, we held our first National Community Impact Day. The thought behind the project was to set aside a day to engage our members and re-emphasize the importance of DA volunteerism. Fortunately for us, when he's not capturing high-value targets in combat, past National Commander Butch Whitehead is one of the people leading volunteer initiatives.
Today we're doing the Community Impact Project, and what a wonderful day, bringing together some fellow veterans and giving back and helping a spouse of a veteran today that is, challenged herself because of things she can't do anymore, and helping her do some of the projects around her house here.
This has been an absolute gift that I'm getting today with all of these wonderful people.
Yes, it was work, but it was a lot of fun work, though.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the best part of this whole project is I didn't have to ask. It's just made such a big difference.
Volunteerism is just one way we can customize our efforts to ensure the unique needs of veterans are met. But it's also one of the areas where, as DAV leaders, we can make a significant impact by simply asking people we know to help out. We always need drivers and folks in hospitals to augment the care VA provides, and we're getting very creative in how we leverage local media to help recruit in that area. But beyond our next Community Impact Day in April during National Volunteer Month, we should look at the local Veterans Assistance Program as a cure-all for leveraging the unique abilities of interested volunteers and fulfilling special needs that would otherwise go unmet. Barry spoke yesterday about membership, and I don't need to belabor any of the points he made, but I do want you to know that we're doing more and applying more strategy than ever before in our history to recruiting people to join our ranks. We're doing more to provide resources for recruiters and incentives for people to join. But if you're not tuning in and sharing the great information we're putting out there, if you're not aware of tangible and intangible benefits of joining DAV, your fellow veterans need you to sharpen up. To help, we've created something special that will give you the confidence and tools you need.
At over 1 million strong, DAV members are the lifeblood of the organization. That's why recruiting new members is so important. Your ability to get your fellow veterans to join DAV takes continued familiarization with all facets of our mission and life-changing services. The DAV recruitment resource is designed to help set you up for success. You can find digital and printable versions of the recruitment resource on DAV.org. For quick access to the recruitment resource, save a link to the home screen of your phone or tablet. When time is short, start with the elevator speech. It's a concise overview of the importance of a DAV membership. The rest of the guide is designed to answer potential members' most frequently asked questions. The digital version provides links to web pages, forms, videos, and other resources, while the printable version has a QR code that veterans can scan to pull up links to those same items. Don't forget to give potential members your Recruit a Warrior link or QR code to easily sign up from their own device. DAV is always looking to add new members, and with your help, we will continue to help keep our country's promises to the men and women who served.
That resource and many more are available in the Member Resources section of our newly enhanced website. But if that's not enough, as many of you know, we have an exciting new incentive that could literally win you millions of dollars. All right, I know what you're thinking. I said millions of dollars. And then the video said $2,500 and a trip for two to Las Vegas. Well, this contest will give you almost a full year to cash out all your change jars and pool your money. The millions you could win is then up to you and your luck at the casinos. I suggest you put it all on red and let it ride. However you bet, DAV can't unfortunately cover any losses or the taxes on winnings. But still, one great reason you should go out and recruit. DAV is constantly looking at ways we connect with the veteran community. In addition to our increasing engagement across all major social networks, DAV expanded outreach to an area that our founders never could have foreseen. DAV is now using the interactive live streaming channel Twitch to reach gamers and people who use the channel for entertainment, sports, and music. We are meeting veterans and those who support us where they are. DAV on Twitch will give veterans an opportunity to engage with our organization from their living rooms. We can answer their questions, direct them to resources, or recruit them to join, volunteer, or even participate in legislative advocacy. We continue to build and enhance relationships with the media, and our partnerships with the UFC and other companies should make it easier for our chapters and departments to activate locally. The only strange thing about having DAV's name on the mat is that it changes the way you experience the sport. Instead of cheering on a fighter, I find myself hoping that whoever ends up getting pounded out on the mat does so near, but not covering, DAV signage. We'll be producing new public service announcements this year. The donated inventory we receive year in and year out over the past decade has achieved nearly 80 billion impressions at a value of nearly $850 million. That is almost $1 billion in free airtime. This year, we conclude 3 years leading DAV Patriot Boot Camp. That's another program that truly meets veterans where they are and empowers them to succeed as entrepreneurs. I hope many of you were able to experience a taste of that program with the Patriots Pitch Contest Friday night. That program is going to continue to change many, many lives in ways that are truly awe-inspiring. It goes well beyond teaching a veteran how to fish, as the saying goes. Through DAV Patriot Boot Camp, veterans are teaching other veterans and creating a community of support so our founders can succeed on an entirely new plane. Where most veterans surrendered their prime entrepreneurial years in order to serve, DAV is giving them the tools and networks they need to make the world of business accessible to them. Not only are they creating jobs, they're coming back to DAV to find out how they can give back and hire more veterans. Speaking of employment, DAV career fairs continue to empower. In addition to providing a direct conduit to veteran-friendly companies, DAV is doing more than ever before to create content and advise veterans on how to succeed in their careers. We're working with the for-profit sector to educate employers to not just hire veterans, but to support their growth and retention. We're thinking out of the box and opening our charity to experts who want to improve the lives of the people we serve. Our own past national commander, Dave Riley, a quadruple amputee, participated in Johns Hopkins University's multidisciplinary design program. Working with students who will be some of the top engineers of their generation, Dave collaborated to help with the design of waterproof prosthetics with the hope that it would enable arm amputees to perform basic hygiene procedures autonomously. In addition to the prosthesis, which they named Remora, an integrated and self-contained bath system called the Barrel Solution was proposed, which would provide sponges for cleaning, rinsing, and air drying. And anyone who knows Yvonne Riley can agree, while Dave benefits from increased independence, she would get the respite of a peaceful cup of coffee while he's in the Dave washer. Although these contraptions might not be as practical and useful as Dave would probably like, this is one small part of a continuous path of innovation and expansion in the services we offer and the way we conduct our business. And I want to thank you, our member leaders, for making DAV an experience in your communities and for your flexibility and innovation in creating solutions for veterans where you live. It's hard to believe we're marking 20 years since some of the heaviest fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's impossible to calculate the full toll those in previous areas of wartime service have had on our community, whose members have shouldered the cost of our nation's liberty. With the support of so many DAV chapters and departments, our adaptive sports programs are one of the most inspirational occasions in which we can see our community come together. At the Winter Sports Clinic, we recognized a special veteran whose participation was emblematic of the spirit of that event.
Everything's happening so fast when you're recovering, you're learning how to walk. When you're here in the mountain, it kind of slows it down and kind of makes you appreciate life more. Artillery rounds landed close to where I was, which actually resulted in a Humvee that was nearby, close to the exploding. Shrapnel penetrated the back by my right ear, and they pretty much traveled from the back, they stopped right in my right frontal lobe, causing me to obviously have a traumatic brain injury and be paralyzed from my left side completely. I was in a coma for 2 months. So I thought I was dreaming. I could process everything. I could hear people talking. I couldn't talk. They didn't think I was going to recover. Or at least they didn't think I was going to walk, talk, or be independent at all. Fortunately, with the VA and other help, I was able to recover and get some type of independence back. Coming here to mountain pretty much changes your whole perspective in life and what's possible and what's not possible. Not just by me doing it, but watching other people do it, they inspire me. Everybody goes through something. Even if they're not disabled, they go through some adversity. So seeing people out here in the mountain is pretty inspiring. My favorite part of the Winter Sports Clinic is the activities, but also is bonding with the veterans. It gives me a chance to connect with them and find kind of a sense of belonging.
Without meeting Eric, it never would have gotten to the point it is right now. It was just a click. And the thing was, I can help you and you can help me. And we came together like that because we're vets, man, okay? And next thing I know, he is cluing me in on all of these adaptive activities. Saved my life.
What I would like to do is help people that are going through experiences that I went through, because it's pretty difficult. I try to say, like, don't take that as that's what you're gonna get. Like, I was given the same way, like, I'm never gonna do this, and look at me now.
Eric is a very nice young man. It's been amazing the progress he's made since his injury. He was told he would not walk or talk again. And now he's out here skiing at the Winter Sports Clinic. It's just amazing. And he's giving back to other veterans now, encouraging them to be strong and progress in their recovery. And that's why he's so deserving of the DAV Freedom Award.
Skiing brings a new sense of purpose to your life. Like, I can do a lot of things I enjoy being active, obviously with the help of professionals, but it's still at least something to look forward to every year. I want to do this as long as I'm healthy. I want to keep doing this, and that's my plan.
Eric Castillo paid a tremendous price while defending our way of life. This year, he marks his 20th Alive Day. And while his story showcases the resilience and potential of veterans in our community, he also reminds us of the foundation we stand upon as inheritors of DAV's legacy. From the equipment he uses in the video to the healthcare system he relies on for rehabilitation, and on into the benefits he's earned and the life he's able to lead decades after sacrificing so much for our nation. All of this is possible because we, as a band of brothers and sisters, have fought for more than 100 years to ensure our own are not left behind. I mentioned before that making comparisons in eras is difficult. But in this case, I want to make a special shout out to the veterans of a particular era who gave my generation the welcome home that they never themselves received. If you're a Vietnam War era veteran and you're able, will you please stand up or raise your hand and remain standing for just a moment? The vast expansion of opportunities and benefits and the public's consciousness of its relationship to veterans owes a huge debt of gratitude to all of you. It wasn't that long ago that I returned home, dusty, tired, and dirty. I vividly recall the group of Vietnam-era veterans that met our plane in Atlanta and welcomed me home. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for helping everyone here achieve a larger measure of success than at any time in our nation's history. Madam Commander, this concludes my report, and I humbly yield any remaining applause to those that were just standing and welcome them home. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yep, 1 and 3.
I got it. Thank you, Cody, for that outstanding report. May I have a motion to accept Mr. Van Boxel's report?
Mike 1.
Mike 1.
Comrade Commander Joe Kaufman, Chapter 113, Pennsylvania. I make the motion to accept that report as read.
I have a motion. May I have a second?
Mike 3.
Mike 3.
Danny Oliver, Chapter 88, Department of Oklahoma. I want to say welcome home, and I second your report, sir.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Once again, this year's Arthur H. and Mary E. Wilson Award for Top Venture Impacting Veterans will be awarded to a veteran-owned operation that performed exceptionally well at a recent Veteran Entrepreneurship Success Summit in Washington, D.C. The summit was hosted by Syracuse University's Danilo Institute for Veterans and Military Families. IVMF's purpose mirrors DAV's mission of empowering veterans to live high-quality lives with respect and dignity. Sharing in that same mission, DAV has proudly supported this competition by offering a financial award for the specialty category of Top Venture Impacting Veterans, which is made possible by a contribution and ongoing commitment from one of the organization's true friends. Rick Fenstermacher was instrumental in helping to erect the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial. This award recognizes disabled veterans who have taken on the challenge of starting a business that enhances lives in the veteran community. Our recipient is Joe Smaro of Solution Point Plus in San Antonio, Texas. Joe and his partner, Jesse Trevino, are former Marines who founded Solution Point Plus to cultivate mental wellness, maximize human capital, and promote safety by providing crisis intervention training. First responders, many of whom are veterans, are provided with the resources they need to de-escalate potentially dangerous situations and better serve communities nationwide. Let's take a closer look at this incredible company that was featured in the HBO documentary, Ernie and Joe, Crisis Cops.
I'm gonna head over to Code 1. EMS is gonna be out with us. I'm being told that she is gonna be on that bridge. Where's she at? She's sitting on the rail here.
No one calls us to give us good news. They call us because something bad is happening, and so they're in a crisis.
Are you okay?
We used to have a saying in law enforcement, ask, tell, make. I'm gonna ask you to do it, I'm gonna tell you to do it, and I'm gonna make you do it.
On average, in a police academy in this country, they spend 60 hours or more learning how to shoot a gun, and they spend 8 on mental health and communication. We need to shift that.
He is now feeling suicidal and homicidal.
Your mom said that you haven't been on medication?
They found Mel who was trying to commit suicide.
Are you hearing voices right now? What are they saying to you?
Has anyone here, while you're in a work capacity, told someone, I'm scared?
As human beings, we have to be connected. I unplug a lamp, it don't work. Are you okay?
I promise you I can help you. You're not too broken, but you're fixable.
If it takes me all day long to convince them that we're not gonna hurt them and they're gonna come with us.
How you doing? You okay?
I'll take all day long.
Oh, no, this is my partner, Joe. My name's Ernie.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Jesse Trevino and his business partner with Solution Point Plus, our scholarship recipient, Joe Smaro.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow veterans, good morning and thank you. It is both a privilege and an honor to stand before you today on behalf of Solution Point Plus, not only as its CEO, but as a proud veteran. We're deeply grateful to disabled American veterans for this recognition and for the generous award of $10,000. Solution Point Plus is a testament to the belief that the values learned in military service of honor, courage, and commitment can powerfully translate into empowering our communities. As combat veterans of Marine Corps and former police officers, Jesse Trevino and I founded Solution Point Plus in 2017 with a clear mission: to bridge the critical gap between behavioral health and criminal justice systems while attempting to eradicate suicide amongst all first responders. We specialize in providing comprehensive mental health and de-escalation training to first responders across the nation. Our expertise is in de-escalation, and our passion is in self-care, wellness, and resiliency. Roughly 25% of police officers in America are military veterans, and we as a company are proud to report that 50% of our staff are veterans, to include one Gold Star mother. Our goal is simple yet ambitious: to ensure that every encounter between a first responder and a community member is handled with empathy and respect. This award not only bolsters our resources, but reaffirms our resolve to expand our impact. To the DAV, thank you. Your unwavering support of veteran-owned businesses and for recognizing the potential in our mission. To my team at Solution Point Plus, your dedication and passion are the backbone of our success. And to all of you here today, your support empowers us to continue our vital work. Together, we are building a legacy of service and personal transformation that honors the best of our nation's values. Thank you. I love you, and be well.
Each year, DAV recognizes companies that go above and beyond to recruit, hire, and invest in veterans. These companies understand how veterans contribute to a company's success and culture and are critical in our mission to ensuring veterans can lead fulfilling lives after service. I'll invite National Employment Director Ryan Burgos to the stage. It is my pleasure to announce the DAV Patriot Employer of the Year Awards for 3 outstanding organizations. The 2024 DAV Small Patriot Employer of the Year Award goes to Arlinghouse Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning, located in DAV National Headquarters backyard. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Arlinghouse's Human Resources Manager, Amber Smith, to the stage.
Arlinghouse Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning is a family-owned and operated company just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, where DAV was founded. Arlinghouse attends DAV job fairs and partners with several organizations that help connect veterans with meaningful employment and resources. As Arlinghouse grows to its 2nd location in Ohio, it is dedicated to hiring even more veterans and investing in their success. The company offers a paid apprenticeship program for those with no civilian trade experience and makes it a point to recognize and celebrate military service in the workplace.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? Awesome. On behalf of Arlinghouse Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, I would like to accept this award and extend our heartfelt thank you to the DAV for this honor. As an employer, we understand that veterans share our core values of teamwork, integrity, and service. It is our pleasure and honor to not only accept this award, but to continue to be an employer of choice for veterans in our area. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber, for all you and your company do to support veterans. Our 2024 DAV Midsize Patriot Employer of the Year goes to Virginia-based management consulting firm Aptiv. Please welcome to the stage Aptiv's Director of People Operations, Amelia Poling.
Aptiv is a service-disabled and woman veteran-owned small business that supports innovative programs across the federal government. More than half of its consulting contracts originate with the Department of Veterans Affairs. Impressively, around 20% of their employees are veterans, National Guard, Reserve, and active duty service members. The company's Vets Hiring Program includes veteran recruiters, relocation stipends, and transition-related training opportunities. The company's Vets Hiring Program includes veteran recruiters, relocation stipends, and transition-related training opportunities. Once hired, veterans can also take advantage of the Aptiv Warrior Employee Resource Group and a Battle Buddy mentorship program.
Good morning, DAV. It is an incredible honor to stand before you and accept this award on behalf of Aptiv. I want to extend our deepest gratitude to DAV for recognizing our efforts in recruiting and hiring veterans and honoring their military service. At Aptiv, like many of you, we are committed, or we believe that veterans bring unique skills and experience to the workforce. Their contributions are invaluable, and we are committed to continuing to provide an inclusive space where they can thrive. This award is a testament to the hard work, dedication, and commitment of our entire team. I am proud of Aptiv's initiatives to support our veterans, employees, our clients, and community. Thank you again to DAV. We are deeply grateful for this recognition and look forward to continuing to support veterans across our great nation.
Let's give another round of applause for Amelia and her awesome team members at Aptiv. The 2024 DAV Large Patriot Employer of the Year is Blue Halo LLC, a Virginia-based government defense contractor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Blue Halo Deputy Director and Second in Command, Danny Knowles, to accept the DAV Large Patriot Employer of the Year Award.
Blue Halo's mission is to transform the future of global defense, offering industry-leading capabilities in space, electronic warfare, artificial intelligence, and much more. In service to its mission to provide the best, most cutting-edge solutions, Blue Halo recognizes the value and integrity that veterans, transitioning service members, and spouses bring to the workplace. More than 1,300 Blue Halo employees identify as veterans, and the company strives to hire 50 veterans each year. Blue Halo partners with numerous veteran-centric programs, including the DoD SkillBridge internship program, and offers mentoring tailored to the veteran's military experience and career goals.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. It's kind of bright, so I can't see much. No, I really appreciate DAV for this award for Blue Halo. We really put a lot of effort into our veterans that are working for us, and if it wasn't for the veterans, we could not accomplish the things that we do today, in my opinion. I am a vet myself, so the honor is great to be able to stand up here and receive this. I would say that I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to all the veterans of Blue Halo, and especially the disabled veterans that are out there. It is those guys who reach out every day and mentor, provide assistance, whether that's through TAP classes, through that's mentorship for people, but they're the ones that really make it happen and allow us to bring on people of veterans into Blue Halo. So my hat's off to them, a round of applause for them. So thank you again for this award and this honor to get up here and receive this on behalf of Blue Halo. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please congratulate our Large Patriot Employer of the Year with another round of applause. Thanks to DAV's dedicated outreach and collaboration with companies that participate in our nationwide career fairs, DAV receives numerous submissions to our Patriot Employer program each year. If you know of a small, medium, or large company that prioritizes hiring veterans, you can nominate them or encourage them to nominate themselves at patriotemployers.org. In addition to our top award recipients, we've added categories for ventures that excelled in specific categories, including hiring and recruiting, career building and retention, excellence in community support. The names of these outstanding employers will be submitted for the record. Also, they and all who are recognized through patriotemployers.org will receive digital badges to promote their excellence in hiring our nation's heroes. Please give these and all employers who support our community one more round of applause. In 2007, DAV created the Local Veterans Assistance Program, or LVAP, providing veterans with a seemingly unlimited number of opportunities to serve while receiving the same recognition and incentives as those available to traditional VA and Transportation Network volunteers. Under LVAP, the opportunities to assist veterans and their families are formed by the needs of local veterans, from yard cleanup and landscaping to serving as companions for veterans in long-term care facilities and hospice units. Volunteers perform any task that may help improve a veteran's life. I'll ask National Voluntary Services Director John Kleindienst and National Headquarters Executive Director Cody Van Boxel to the stage for their assistance, please. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my extreme pleasure to recognize our top DAV state-level departments in the area of LVAP service, starting with Division 1.
The Division 1 Local Veterans Assistance Program recipient is the Department of Virginia, past Department Commander Wilton King, with 243,618 hours. Here to accept the award is Department Adjutant Lisa Gregory. The Division 2 Local Veterans Assistance Program winner is the Department of South Carolina with 391,360 hours. Here to accept the award is past Department Commander Thomas Walls.
Hang on just 1 minute.
The Division 3 Local Veterans Assistance winner is the Department of Wisconsin, past Department Commander Robert Hiller, with 77,588 hours. Here to receive the award is Department Adjutant John Polk. The Division 4 Local Veterans Assistance Program winner is the Department of Nebraska, past Department Commander Frederick Lee, with 102,171 hours. Here to bring home the award is Department Adjutant Jamie Jacob. The Division 5 Local Veterans Assistance Program winner is the Department of South Dakota, past Department Commander Christine Spears, with 41,926 hours. Here to receive the award is Department Adjutant Marty Pennick.
I cannot say enough to express the gratitude of our organization for all of the incredible volunteers in VA hospitals, our transportation network drivers, and participants in the local Veterans Assistance Program for their heartfelt service to disabled veterans and their families. Thank you for giving your time and energy to help DAV keep our promise to the men and women who have served our great nation. Please join me again in giving them all a big hand for their service. Membership is the secret to DAV's success. Our depth of membership is only possible because of the efforts of close to 2,000 members dedicated to recruiting for our organization. Because of these dedicated veterans, our ideas, viewpoints, and experiences stay fresh and exciting. It's very simple. With these members, DAV's voice is strong. Without them, we're weak. I'm talking about DAV's recruiters and NSOs. I wholeheartedly believe that DAV has the best membership recruiters around. I'd like to invite National Membership Director Doug Wells to the stage as we recognize our top division winners in recruiting for 2023 and 2024.
Under the leadership of Commander Richard Castellano, the Department of New York is the recipient of this year's Division I award. Accepting the award is Department Adjutant Shannon Sander. Under the leadership of Commander Julius Marley, the Department of Missouri is the recipient of this year's Division II award. And accepting the award is Department Adjutant Michael Elmore. Under the leadership of Commander Matty Whitfield, the Department of Maryland is the recipient of this year's Division III award, and accepting the award is Department Adjutant Tony Chandler. Under the leadership of Commander Marty Cantrell, the Department of Connecticut is the recipient of this year's Division IV award, and accepting the award is Department Adjutant Al Church. With the leadership of Commander Charles Greer, the Department of Wyoming is the recipient of this year's Division V award, and accepting the award is Department Adjutant Floyd Watson.
Don't go anywhere yet, Floyd. Our next award is the General Jonathan M. Wainwright Award. It is presented to the department that closes the year with the largest percentage increase in total new members. The winner is the Department of Wyoming. Please join us for another picture, Floyd.
The General Jonathan M. Wainwright Award is named after a past DAV National Commander and Medal of Honor recipient who served as commander of Allied forces in the Philippines at the time of their surrender to Japan in World War II.
The Judge Robert S. Marks Award is presented to the department that completes the year with the highest percentage increase of fully paid life members over a goal. This year's winner is the Department of Minnesota. Please welcome Department Adjutant Butch Whitehead.
The Judge Robert S. Marks Award is named after DAV's founder. Marks served in the Army in World War I. He earned the Distinguished Service Cross and was injured in the Meuse-Argonne Offensive in 1918. He later became a Superior Court judge and law professor.
Our next two award recipients recruited a combined total of 456 new members last year. If you're trying to do the math in your head, that works out to about 1.24 new members each day. Many of you joined DAV with the help of one of our outstanding National Service officers. The details of our NSOs retain is amazing. They each keep a working knowledge of veteran benefit law and an outstanding knowledge of medical terminology, anatomy, and physiology. On top of that, being a DAV NSO also requires a unique understanding of our organization. I'm honored to recognize the top recruiter from our NSO Corps, who remarkably recruited 271 veterans to join our ranks. Though John Rodriguez of the Chicago National Service Office isn't able to make it, in accepting on his behalf is the office supervisor, Robert Nolbertowitz. Please clap loud enough so John can hear us from the Windy City. Each year, DAV recognizes the success of members who sign 100 or more new members for 3 consecutive years with a gold lapel pin, and by entering their names into the Membership Recruiters Hall of Fame. This year's inductee recruited 129 new members this year alone. In the last 3 years, he's added 402 veterans to our ranks. From the Maryland National Service Office, please stand and join me in a round of applause for Mr. Craig Barnes.
Denise knows, she'll go back for it.
Okay.
We gotta go back to Shannon Center. Denise has to look at me.
Our top recruiting member of the year is Shannon Sander from DAV Chapter 15 in New York. She recruited 185 new members. Please give one final round of applause for all our recruiters. I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing what you do next year. It is now my privilege to introduce someone who has dedicated his post-service career to providing the fullest possible accounting of our missing personnel to their families and the nation. A retired Major General with 34 years of service in the Air Force, Kelly McKeague serves as the Director of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, or the DPAA. While he has been in his current position since 2017, this was not his first position with the agency. General McKeague served as the first ever Deputy Director of the DPAA, and before that, as Commander of the Joint POW MIA Accounting Command at Joint Base Harbor, Hickam, Hawaii. He was commissioned in 1981 after graduating from the Georgia Institute of Technology and served as a civil engineering officer until his retirement in 2015. Please join me in welcoming General Kelly McKeague.
Well, I'm not sure what that was, but good morning. National Commander Espinosa, National Adjutant Jezanowski, and of course, distinguished veterans and auxiliary members of the DAV. It truly is a distinct privilege and an honor to participate in your national convention. Not only is this an opportunity to provide you an update of the POW MIA mission, but more importantly, it's a chance to thank you for steadfastly championing the POW MIA mission. It's not lost on me that DAV's priority is keeping our promise made to America's veterans. And that's similar to DPA's motto, which is fulfilling our nation's promise. It's because of this promise that you help veterans in extraordinary ways. And for us in DPAA, we work to bring unreturned veterans home to their family and community. Searching for, recovering, identifying missing Americans from past wars is a sacred obligation. And this mission is a sacred obligation because it involves your comrades in arms. It's also a moral imperative because they made the supreme sacrifice for the nation we love, and because their Gold Star families deserve to have them home. These words are conveyed by the two photos you see juxtaposed here. The one on the left shows the scope and the scale of our excavations. In this case, an Air Force F-4 crash site in Vietnam with 2 missing airmen. The photo on the right is what is afforded every person we identify. Even if it's a single tooth, they are afforded a full military honors burial. The POW MI mission is global because we go wherever Americans went missing in battle since World War II. It's also generational because second and third generation family members still carry a void in life and heart as they longingly wait for answers. As you see here, the numbers are staggering. And even if you just consider the 38,000 we estimate to be recoverable, it's daunting. These numbers, together with the passage of time, are the enemies we battle today. These are also the difficult cases. I'll note that the reason why the numbers come down of MIAs from war to war is because the U.S. military got better at recovering personnel when they fell in battle. In fact, 20 years of combat in Afghanistan, zero MIAs. As you see here, this noble mission benefits greatly from both the recognition and cooperation of 46 countries. This very day, we have 294 people deployed in 10 countries: Laos, Vietnam, Papua New Guinea, France, Austria, Germany, Croatia, and Poland. And next week, we will send a team, this is incredible, we will send a team to China, who is cooperating with the United States on this mission despite the strains of the bilateral relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, sadly, there is one exception, and that is North Korea. And what's heart-wrenching about this non-cooperation is the fact that of the 7,400 missing from the Korean War, 5,300 are in North Korea. It is heart-wrenching. And the last time we were in North Korea operating there was 2005. Here in the U.S., the POW MIA mission generates strong interest and visibility in the Congress as well as with the American public. And this is a direct result of DAV's staunch advocacy at all levels, nationally and at the departments and at your chapters. And while the numbers of MIAs are daunting, they are so much more than just figures. Each has a unique story of memories that their families still carry and treasure through generations, and all of them longingly hope for resolution. I want to share with you two such stories where identifications brought closures, and more importantly, two heroes are finally home. This is Army Private First Class Thomas Smith, who hailed from Grant, Michigan, population 900. In November 1949, one day after he turned 17 and enlisted in the Army, he found himself in one of the early battles of the Korean War. He was a combat engineer and volunteered to stand guard and protect a demolition position near Busan, South Korea. He was last seen valiantly defending the position. His remains were turned over after the war, but they were unidentifiable along with 860 others. Other than the one set of remains at the Tomb of the Unknown in Arlington, all of them were buried as an unknown in the National Cemetery in Honolulu. We are in the process of disinterring all of them, and to date have identified 250 of these former MIAs. After a 32-mile escort by the Michigan State Patrol from Grand Rapids Airport to Grant, Michigan, PFC Smith was interred June 29th in his beloved hometown next to his parents and siblings. The whole community came out to pay their respects, as you see here. First responders, veterans, I guarantee you DAV members, school kids, all lined the streets with flags and signs. One woman's sign said appropriately, "We don't know them all, but we owe them all." PFC Smith was the second oldest of 5 and is survived by his sister Gloria, who is 85, and his brother John, who is 81, and was 7 when his brother went missing. This is an earlier photo of the 5 siblings together, but it's also the last one that his brother John has. PFC Smith, as you see here, is next to his younger siblings, Gloria and John, with his hands held on them. Here is Marine Corps Captain Ron Forrester, a Texan native from Odessa and a Texas A&M graduate. He and his younger brother, identical twin, Don, who is now 77, are pictured here as young boys. Captain Forrester was an A-6A bombardier navigator who was shot down over North Vietnam 2 days after Christmas, 1972, at the age of 25. Over the years, multiple teams investigated and excavated Vietnamese ground in search of Captain Forrester and his pilot, Marine Corps Captain Ralph Chipman. An unwavering commitment and a relentless perseverance led to the discovery last year of bone fragments, teeth, a dog tag, even a gas credit card, all of which were used to identify and account for Captains Chipman and Forrester. I love the photo in the middle. It's from the memorial service in Texas where hundreds attended, family members, Aggies. Speaking at the service you see here is Captain Forrester's granddaughter, Lillian. Above her is a projection of a photo of her and her then young mom at her grandfather's memorial marker. That young mom was 2 years old when her dad went missing. This is the last picture of them together. As she got older, Kearney became more involved with the National League of Families, who designed the POW MIA bracelets that we're all familiar with, as well as the iconic black and white POW MIA flag. Kearney will bury her dad at Arlington National Cemetery on October 7th. Because PFC Smith and Captain Forrester are identified and now home, the American Battle Monuments Commission, and you'll hear next from their chairman, General Garrett, will place a bronze rosette next to their names on the marble tablets at the National Cemetery in Honolulu. They are why this mission matters and how your appreciation, support, and advocacy of the POW MIA mission enables POW MIA families like the Smiths and Forresters to have answers they have long sought. From your work of the interim POW MIA committee, who I'll speak to this afternoon, to attending the military burials of returned service members, thank you. To your national leaders visiting our laboratory, just as National Commander Espinosa did in January, thank you. The iconic black and white table honoring our MIAs and POWs. And for flying the flag over your departments, thank you. Distinguished veterans and auxiliary members, the fact that the United States of America vigorously pursues the missing is the right thing to do. Like you, when they entered the military, they signed a contract. But when they made the supreme sacrifice, they entered into a covenant. A contract is legally binding. A covenant is a spiritual agreement. A contract is an agreement between parties and can be broken, but a covenant is a pledge and a perpetual promise. A contract is signed. A covenant is sealed. Most importantly, a contract exchanges one good for another, but a covenant is giving oneself to the other. A symbol of this covenant is the iconic black and white POW MIA flag that flies over federal facilities every single day. It represents and communicates America's commitment, determination, and hopefulness. On the flag are the poignant words, "You are not forgotten." Distinguished veterans and auxiliary members, I can assure you that the Department of Defense has not forgotten and will not forget. And thank you to the DAV for not forgetting and keeping the promise made to our unreturned veterans. May God bless our MIAs, their families, and this sacred mission. And may He shed His grace upon each of you, the DAV, and your sacred mission, and may He always bless our great country. I salute all of you. Thanks again for the invitation.
Thank you, General McKeague. Thank you for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and are interred on battlefields around the globe. One agency is there to honor their service and achievements, the American Battle Monuments Commission. Established by Congress in 1923, the ABMC is the guardian of America's overseas commemorative ceremonies, cemeteries, and memorials, and honors the service, achievements, and sacrifice of U.S. Armed Forces. There are more than 26 cemeteries and 31 memorials, monuments, and markers under the care of ABMC. Additionally, there are more than 140,000 U.S. servicemen and servicewomen interred at the cemeteries, and more than 94,000 missing in action, or lost or buried at sea, are memorialized on cemetery walls of the missing and on 3 memorials in the United States. I now have the privilege of introducing you to retired Army General Michael X. Garrett, who serves as the chairman of the American Battle Monuments Commission. General Garrett retired from the Army after 38 distinguished years of service, including more than 10 years in various commands within the 75th Ranger Regiment. Garrett serves alongside ABMC's other appointed commissioners, working to ensure the agency and its efforts continue to fulfill the commitment made by ABMC's first chairman, General John J. Pershing. That time will not dim the glory of their deeds. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome General Michael X. Garrett.
Well, good morning, everyone. Oh, I'll try that again. Good morning, everyone. You know what Commander Espinosa did not mention is that the best non-commissioned officer I have ever known is a guy named Command Sergeant Major Ed Garrett, my father, who served 35 years in our Army. I have known throughout my 62 years of life nothing but being in and around our Army. And I just want to start today. You know, I am about 18 months into my transition journey as I left the Army last September. And I have learned over the last 18 months of all of the efforts that organizations do to ensure that veterans like me, my dad, my sister, are looked out for and taken care of and provided a voice when they otherwise wouldn't have one. And today I want to thank each and every one of you for what you do in that regard. So from me to you, thank you. So thanks for inviting me to share the mission of the American Battle Monument Commission with you today, to report on why we do it. Our Secretary, Charles DeJoux, shared some of the ABMC story with you last year, and I'm honored to be here today with you on behalf of my fellow commissioners and the ABMC staff. Simply stated, our mission is to preserve the legacy of service and sacrifice of the U.S. Armed Forces. We do so at 26 cemeteries and 31 monuments in 17 countries. We also do this with a dedicated team of only 500 employees worldwide. We are a small agency, yet our mission is one of great relevance to our nation and to the world. The character of a country can be determined by the way it takes care of its war dead. It's a measure of its heart and soul. In this World War I poem, "The Young Dead Soldiers Do Not Speak," Archibald MacLeish wrote, "We leave you our deaths. Give them meaning." MacLeish, a World War I veteran, wrote those words after losing a brother in the Great War. For over 100 years, the men and women of ABMC have dedicated themselves to ensuring that the memory of those who fell overseas defending our nation and those who fought at their side does not fade, to give meaning to their sacrifice. ABMC was established in 1923. We've entered our second century, continuing to fulfill our nation's promise that, in the words of our first chairman, General of the Armies, John J. Pershing, time will not dim the glory of their deeds. The Commission goes beyond merely preserving physical commemorative sites. It encompasses a mission to keep the memories of those we honor alive for future generations. Their final resting places and the stories etched on their memorials speak of the courage and the indomitable spirit that defines the American character. ABMC works daily to ensure that these stories continue to inspire, to teach, and to resonate. We are becoming more visitor-centric. Last December, we opened a new visitor center at Netherlands American Cemetery. It's our 10th. Our visitor centers provide historical context for why America maintains cemeteries on foreign soil, how those buried and memorialized within them died, and the values for which they died. We do this for the generations that do not have personal awareness of the world wars. When the ABMC was established following World War I, visitors did not need historical context. They knew the story all too well. The wives and mothers who visited the ceremonies came not to learn, but to grieve, to say farewell. This is no longer the case. Younger generations do not know the story. And it's left to agencies like ABMC and organizations like the DAV to ensure that we never forget those who died or return home with life-altering injuries or psychological scars, or the families who share in that sacrifice. In a very real sense, the ABMC has transitioned from a grieving mission to an education and remembrance mission. In June, we hosted an international event at Normandy American Cemetery in France to mark the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings. 2 presidents, 12,000 guests gathered on those sacred grounds to remember, to honor those who participated in the historic battle that turned the tide of the war. Nearly 200 World War II veterans were able to travel and attend the event, more than 20 of whom participated in the D-Day invasion. The youngest was 96, the oldest was 107. How many will be with us for the 85th anniversary? And when they are all gone, who will remember their stories? Normandy is our best known and most visited cemetery because of its connection to D-Day. But the other ABM sites are equally impressive and equally inspirational. In 2 weeks at Rhone American Cemetery in France, we will commemorate the 80th anniversary of Operation Dragoon, the southern France landings. In September, at our Honolulu Memorial, family members will add bronze rosettes to the names of their Vietnam War missing, reflecting their recovery and identification by the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency. And in December, at the Battle of the Bulge Memorial in Bastogne, Belgium, we'll commemorate the 80th anniversary of that bitter 1944 battle. We are working to expand our partnerships with national museums while seeking new partnership opportunities with educational institutions across our country. This is our purpose: maintaining the Commission's cemeteries and monuments to the highest standards will always be a Commission priority. But preserving the legacy of those entrusted to our care by expanding public awareness of their deeds has become an equally compelling priority. No matter how many years pass after each service member is lost in war or returns home battle-scarred, we share in your belief that their service must never be forgotten. Some of you have visited our sites, and we thank you. We thank you for helping us honor our fallen. We warmly welcome all visitors to experience these special places in person, but especially veterans like you who know all too well the cost of war. I want to close with a short video we produced for this year's D-Day commemoration. I think it speaks directly to what we do and why we do it.
Papa, what was it like on D-Day?
We had no idea what we were going to do or where it would happen, but it was the beginning.
It was a very decisive battle for us because our mission was to establish ourselves on the beach.
When we were on that boat, on that Higgins boat, everybody talked about the same thing, helping each other and not getting killed.
We started up this sandy area, and there were hundreds of men inside.
My father jumped about 1:30 in the morning on June 6th. The plane was too low, it was too fast, the fire coming up was so thick, it was like you could walk on it.
It wasn't something that we had ever seen before in all of our training.
I always have said that there was the power of my mother's prayers that saved me that day.
And it gets to me thinking about it. But as I look over those crosses, I see people standing up, even waving. I have to go back because there's something there that draws you back.
I have a very close friend that I knew by the name of Edward Mirosevic. He had received a very bad stomach wound, and I could not even bandage it properly. We said goodbye to each other wherever. He's laying here on the cemetery here in Colville. I think of the many men here that paid the ultimate price for the freedom of Europe.
Young people want to know and need to know. Everybody I saw that I was glad to fight alongside them, they were willing to stand up. And not all of them came back.
And they all have a story to tell. And it's our responsibility to tell those stories. People will not be forgotten as long as we keep talking about them.
I'm not a hero, I just did my job. The real heroes are laying here on the cemeteries. These are our heroes, and we should never forget them.
This is our purpose. We will continue to work tirelessly to cherish their memory and honor their legacy so that future generations recognize the debt that we owe to our veterans. That is our promise, and we commit ourselves to its fulfillment. May God bless all of our veterans, and may God bless this great country that we are all so fortunate to live in. Thank you all very much.
I'd like to call on Board of Directors Chairperson Joe Parsetich for his report.
Bet you didn't think you'd see me up here again. National Commander Espinosa, fellow members of National Executive Committee, DAV members and guests, good afternoon. I'm going to go off script for about 10 seconds here because, you know, something that we get to all enjoy and appreciate, I don't know if we ever really fully recognize. What do you think about our technical crew that does our lights and sound in all the directions, huh? What do you think? Let me also begin by recognizing those which I serve on the board of directors. Treasurer Charles Edwards from Texas, who is unfortunately able to be here today. Vice Chairman Daniel Contreras from California. Secretary and National Adjutant Barry Jesenowski from Kentucky. Director and NEC from the 15th District, David Gerke from Missouri. Director and NEC from the 17th District, Jerry Estes from Utah. And Director and NEC from the 18th District, William Bill Dolan from Nevada, who also is unable to join us here this week. It is my honor and privilege to present a report on the financial affairs of our organization for the 6-month period ending June 30th, 2024. DAV's total fundraising support through that date was almost $59 million. Contributions were just over $43 million, and bequests were close to $16 million. Under the fundraising program, payouts to the department in December of 2023 and June of 2024 totaled just about $3 million. Since the program began in 1994, $119 million have been distributed to departments for their service programs. The board would also like to thank all of our departments for their continued participation in these programs, and especially our members for their generosity. As of June 2024, DAV received total support and revenue from all sources of just under $149 million. The total support and revenue is affected by a decrease in contributed media value. Also, through June of 2024, DAV had total expenditures of roughly $129 million, of which $104 million were for service programs, which is almost 82% of our expenditures. Over that same period, fundraising expenditures of roughly $18 million were a little bit over $1 million less than June of 2023. Administrative expenses were just a little less than $5 million. And as of June 30th of 2024, the market value of our general fund long-term investment portfolio is just over $491 million. DAV's net assets or net worth increased from almost $440 million at this time last year to in excess of $494 million, a $54 million increase, or 12%. On June 30th of 2024, the Life Membership Fund reserve was a little bit under $56 million. Commander, it is my privilege to present DAV's proposed 2025 annual budget for ratification by the convention. At the May 23rd, 2024 meeting, the Board was presented with the 2025 proposed budget. The board unanimously approved the proposed budget at that time, a copy of which was provided to all convention attendees at registration. I would like to thank National Adjutant Barry Jesenowski and his staff for all of their hard work, which makes this report possible. Let me also thank you, Commander Espinoza, for your support of the Board of Directors and our Treasurer that we have received from you. This concludes my report to the National Convention, a report I feel honored to offer to our delegates on behalf of our Board and Treasurer. I thank you and would move for the adoption of my report and the approval of the proposed 2025 annual budget.
Can I get a motion to accept the Board of Directors Treasurer's report?
Microphone number 1 from the Sunshine State of Florida, DAV Chapter 84, Greater Daytona Area, Don Moore. I make a motion and we accept the report.
I now have a motion. May I have a second?
Mike 2.
Mike 2.
Shannon Sander, Chapter 15, New York, seconds the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered. I would like to call on Chairman Rob Reynolds for the report of the Committee on Constitution and Bylaws. This is the first reading of the proposed bylaws changes.
Comrade Commander and delegates, good morning. The National Convention Committee on Constitution and Bylaws was called to order on August 3rd, 2024 by committee advisors Ed Hartman and Rob Reynolds. The first order of business was the election of a convention committee chairman and a secretary. Rob Reynolds was elected as chairman and Robert Hill was elected as secretary. The committee then proceeded to review the resolutions submitted, and I will now report to you the resolutions recommended for adoption by this National Convention. For the purpose of saving time, I will read only the number and purpose of the resolution. Resolution number 446, amend Article 3, Section 3.6, Paragraph 1 of the bylaws to allow for 2 delegates and 2 alternates for each state department at the National Convention rather than 1 delegate and 1 alternate per department. Resolution number 561, amend Article 3, Section 3.5, Paragraph 1 of the bylaws to increase the National Convention registration fee from $25 to $35 for each delegate, alternate, and visitor attending National Convention. Resolution number 562, amend Article 3, Section 3.5, Paragraph 2 of the bylaws to increase the amount to be deposited into the National Convention Fund per chapter. The increase would consist of, for chapters with 100 members or less, increase from $20 to $30. For chapters with 101 to 1,000 members, increase from $40 to $60. For chapters with 1,001 to 3,000 members, increase from $60 to $90. And for chapters with 3,001 members or more, increase from $80 to $120. Resolution number 563, amend Article 8, Section 8.4, Paragraph 2 of the bylaws to increase the amount required to prompt a CPA review for departments with gross annual income excluding all income from the national organization from $300,000 to $500,000. Resolution number 564, amend Article 9, Section 9.3, Paragraph 2 of the bylaws to increase the amount required to prompt a CPA review for chapters with gross annual income excluding all income from the national organization from $300,000 to $500,000. Resolution number 565, amend Article 10, Section 10.1, Paragraph 3 of the bylaws to increase the amount required to prompt a CPA review for auxiliary and other subordinate entities with gross annual income excluding all income from the national organization from $300,000 to $500,000. Resolution number 566, amend Article 18, Section 18.3, Paragraph 1 of the bylaws to allow the national adjutant to determine the reasonable time necessary for subordinate entities required to spend down funds to satisfy compliance with Article 18, Section 18.2 of the bylaws. Resolution number 567, amend Article 18, Section 18.3, Paragraph 2 of the bylaws to permit the national adjutant to determine whether the expenditure of funds are being spent for service purposes for subordinate entities required to spend down funds to satisfy compliance with Article 18, Section 18.2 of the bylaws. Comrade Commander, this completes the first reading of the report of the Committee on Constitution and Bylaws and the recommended changes to the Constitution and bylaws.
Thank you, Rob. There will be no action taken at this time. We'll hear the final report of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee at the final business session on Tuesday. National Adjutant Jesinoski, do you have any announcements?
Once again, thank you to Caption Call by Sorensen for sponsoring the closed captioning of this business session. Join us right here for Fun Night tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the return of Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan Band. This year's concert is sponsored once again by our good friends at Tri-West, who have generously donated to bring Gary and the team to Phoenix once again to our national convention to perform. Don't forget that today at 4 p.m., or 1600 for you hard chargers who still keep military time, 4 p.m. is the cutoff for you to make reservations to attend the line officer dinner. Those who did not RSVP, as I mentioned yesterday, for the officer dinner when pre-registering online must do so at registration today, again by 4 p.m. As a reminder, tickets will not be issued for the dinner. An email will be sent by Tuesday morning to attendees who do RSVP that they're attending, noting their assigned table number and further instructions regarding how to check in at the entrance to the dinner. And again, we ask for your patience as this is our first time with a convention center, and so the security and check-ins are a little bit different and a little more onerous for us. Our regular business resumes Tuesday morning at 8:30. We will start off with committee reports, including the final report of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. We'll also be joined by a very special guest, none other than Governor Katie Hobbs, we are all thrilled to have address our delegates and guests. We'll hear reports on the Charitable Service Trust and our National Service Foundation, plus an update on our memorial in Washington. And all who wish to donate to any DAV national entity in the interest of time are encouraged to fill out the donation form in your bags before making your way to our donation space located in West Exhibit Hall 2, inside registration. On Tuesday afternoon, we'll hold our final business session and conclude with nominations and elections of national officers. We're once again giving away 3 $50 gift certificates that can be redeemed at the DAV store, online, or here during the national convention. We should probably increase that, shouldn't we, in the future? We've been giving $50 gift certificates away for a while. I don't know how much work it's going to be on you, Doug, but let's make it $75. Can we afford that? Oh, 100. Maybe we'll do that next year. You give a little and you ask for more. You must be present to win. And if I call your name and you're in the hall, please see Membership Director Doug Wells up here in the front of the stage, as soon as we adjourn. And at that time, Doug will sweat it out as to figure out how to get you your additional $25. Robert Gilmore, Arizona, number 20. Grant Harris, Colorado, number 26. And Frida Gardner, Florida, number 9.
Thank you, Barry. Ladies and gentlemen, if able, please rise. I ask Chaplain Varner Dancer to please lead us in a closing prayer.
Let us pray. Almighty One, once again, we come to give thanks for all that we've seen, all that we participated in. We're so grateful and thankful for all of those who receive their due by honoring them in their faithfulness and their commitment to be the wind beneath our wings. Those that receive their awards, help them to know by only the way that you can how appreciative and how grateful we are. As we leave this place, we continue this journey knowing that we've only just begun, with great expectations to be the leaders and set examples for others to follow. These and all things we ask and receive, and the people said, amen.
The convention stands in recess until 8:30 a.m. Tuesday.